Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. Well, as most of you know, Angie and I were recently on an episode of the Doctor's TV show, and we had never heard of them before or that show, so we were a bit amused at how hostile and seemingly ignorant all the doctors seem to be about us having a plant-based diet, how we're gonna die of potassium overdose and all this other nonsense. So I wanted to get a little bit more perspective about where they were coming from. So I read all three of Travis Stork's books, got them at the library, and I was shocked, really shocked. If he's worried about our potassium overdose, which ain't gonna happen, I'm really concerned about their protein overdose. As we know, the World Health Organization recommends 5-6% of your calories coming from protein. Most Americans get about 15 to 16%. Well, Dr. Stork in his diet books here recommend 30% of your calories from protein. Wow, so what's going on? Why so much protein? And we know what people mean by protein. When they say that, they really mean meat, right? Animal protein. Well, according to Dr. Stork, protein is an appetite suppressant. It causes you to lose weight. Let's take a listen.
And it's interesting because I would be obese if it weren't for protein and meat.
Yes, as would I.
Honestly, whenever I try to go on a diet that doesn't have any protein helps suppress my appetite.
Animal
it helps
protein, you mean?
Fat, yes, but specifically animal protein. So, I mean, for me, it just wouldn't be a good option because I wouldn't even look like myself if I
And there are plenty of people who do eat vegan.
Wow, guys, I don't even know where to start there. There's just so much misinformation and nonsense in that little statement from that doctor. And even though that was not Dr. Stork, what she's saying there is pretty much what he is expressing in his books too. Somehow, the natural desire to eat food, hunger that our bodies have, is a bad thing. So they believe that eating protein makes you crave eating less. It makes you want to eat less food for your meals. And that's why Dr. Stork recommends that we have protein, a big dose of protein for each and every meal of every day. Well, let's see if the facts really bear this out. Do those who eat more protein actually weigh less than those who eat less animal protein? Well, before we were on the show, they had Dr. Neal Barnard, the famous vegan author and doctor, discussing this very point.
In fact, I have a chart. This is from the American Diabetes Association, the non-vegetarians, your average meat eater. Their body mass index, which, as you know, ought to be below 25. Oops, they're pushing 29 almost. But the only group that's right in the smack in the middle of the healthy weight range is the vegans.
Let's look at one other study, the Epic Panacea study, as Dr. Gregor of nutritionfacts.org shall present. It was a huge study, like 300,000 people over 10 years, measuring them on body weight and meat consumption. Let's see what the connection is.
Total meat consumption was positively associated with weight gain in men and women, in normal weight and overweight subjects, and in smokers and non-smokers. Conclusion, our results suggest a decrease in meat consumption may improve weight management. And this was after adjusting for initial weight, physical activity, education level, smoking status, total energy intake. Wait a second. What? That's the kicker, right? The link between meat and weight gain remained even after controlling for calories.
Pull back from that because I don't, your all's mission, I don't disagree with it at all, but to say things like people who eat eggs and dairy actually, certain foods like yogurt are actually associated with weight loss, and so you can't just say that universally. And
well, let's focus on eggs, one of Dr. Stork's favorite foods from what I've seen in his books. Well, the USDA has certain guidelines as to what it will allow egg manufacturers to legally say in advertising.
The egg industry wanted to run this ad, calling eggs a nutritional powerhouse that aids in weight loss. The USDA had to remind the industry you can't portray eggs as a diet food because of the fat and cholesterol content. The ad ended up fine to satisfaction, and instead of weight loss, they had to go with can reduce hunger. USDA congratulated them on their cleverness. Yes, a food that when eaten can reduce hunger. What a concept.
So you can't legally say that eggs are a weight loss food. Well, why does Dr. Stork like eggs so much? Well, because of their protein content, of course.
Can't even call them a rich source of protein because they're not.
Right, so they're not good for weight loss, they're not a great source for protein, so they still must be healthy for us, right?
Here's the latest meta-analysis, the latest compilation of all the best studies on egg consumption and risk of heart disease going back to 1930. When you put them all together, what do we find? Overall, those that ate the most eggs had a 19% increased risk of cardiovascular disease, a 68% increased risk of diabetes, and then once you get diabetes, an 85% increased risk of heart disease. And it didn't take much. Less than a single egg a day was associated with a significantly increased risk of heart disease.
But why not look at it from the perspective of, Jen, you're taking a nutrition, you take nutrition science classes all the time.
Right.
And if you look at it purely from a nutrition perspective, you can't necessarily say, okay, you're healthier if you eat vegan. And so to do that, to imply that, I think in some ways feels like to me it undermines what we try to do, which is teach.
Yeah, because actually studies show when they compared a health-conscious vegan and a health-conscious person who eats meat, that really in terms of mortality, it's exactly the same. They were both very healthy.
Oh really? So a healthy meat and egg eater, whatever that is just as healthy in terms of mortality as someone who eats a healthy vegan diet?
It's the only diet that opens up the arteries again. So if you're headed for a heart attack or a stroke, this is the way that no other diet can do this, but a plant-based diet opens the arteries again. And by the way, for any men in the audience, those artery blockages don't just cause heart attacks, they also cause impotence.
I want to challenge sort of this opinion of one is better than the other, because I think where I stand is your way is healthy, but my way is healthy as well.
Sounds like Dr. Stork's backed up to a wall right now. He's getting all relative. Well, you can be a healthy vegan, or you can be a healthy person who eats dairy and eggs and steak, right?
So consuming the amount of cholesterol found in just a single egg a day appears to cut a woman's life short as much as smoking 5 cigarettes a day for 15 years. The intake of cholesterol, only found in animal foods, was associated with living a shorter life, and the intake of fiber, only found in plant foods, associated with living a longer life. And my favorite side effect of plant-based diets, helping to prevent 15 out of our 16 top killers.
And the flip side of that is if you follow the doctor's diet advice, you're going to get most of those top 16 causes of death by having all that animal protein, cholesterol. It's going to get you heart disease, stroke, and the like. And I'm not singling out Dr. Stork and his friends there for being particularly misinformed and misguided about their dietary knowledge and advice. Most every doctor in America is in the same boat because they receive 0 to 4 hours total of nutrition education in medical school. That's a complete joke. Yet they speak like they are authorities on the subject, like they have really deep and extensive training, which they simply don't. They've had Dr. Neal Barnard on the show. He presented them with the data that shows that people who eat no animal protein, vegans, are the only ones that have a healthy body mass index. Everyone else, even vegetarians, were overweight, yet they chose to ignore that. So this is going to be the first in a series of exposés, if you will, on the doctor's diet. I just had to start here with protein because I thought that was like the big glaring problem, the big health risk about their diet that I wanted to get out there and share with you guys. So if you like what you're seeing here, hit like up here for more, but I'm going to keep making more anyway because I think I have a lot more here to say about the doctor's diet. And if you're new to our channel, subscribe up here somewhere for more from Angie and myself here at Happy Healthy Vegan. And comment down below what you think about this. What do you think of getting 30% of your calories from animal protein a day as opposed to like 5 to 10% as most of us hopefully are? Alright, so enough for me now. I'm gonna go and carb up on some rice I got steaming. Keep it carb, guys. Keep it carb.